let's get started with talking about crochet hooks types, how they might work for you, how they might work with a specific yarn, and where you might find them. So that way you don't get lost and you continue to crochet. You don't just start crocheting. So I have in my hands 5 different hooks, and roughly there are 4 different types. I just happen to have 2 of the same type, but a variation of that type that makes a big difference. So we'll start with that. So let's go from my right and your probably, I don't know, sometimes I have a little equilibrium loss, but anyway, this is a plain aluminum hook. This is wood, generally bamboo wood. This is aluminum with a polymer clay, sculpty baked clay base around it that I added. This is a gold aluminum hook with a plastic base, similar to what I did with this custom hook. And this is an all plastic with a bit of a rubbery effect. But these are 2 forms of plastic. This is aluminum and plastic, bamboo wood, and all aluminum. So you'll notice that there are different sizes, and the hooks and the bases are different sizes. That makes a difference as well. So let's talk about that. So hooks come, in the United States, hooks come with a letter and a number. The number denotes how many millimeters around are made of the circumference of this base. In other words, basically the 4 millimeters is how thick this part of these hooks are. Your hooks do have names for each of their parts. This is like the actual hook base. This has a part, and then you generally have where you hold it. And since we're going to keep things simple here, you have I'm going to use the plain language here so you don't get bogged down in what your hook parts are. You have the part that you hold, you have the part that you wrap the yarn around, and then you have the hook itself. And so as you get into different stitches and stitch types, those elements help you with figuring out how to pull your yarn in. Generally, as you'll see in our chain video, you want to hold your hook handle facing you. You want to hold your hook in the area that it's designated for you to hold. And that is why you'll see some hooks have bigger areas for you to do that. So since I have tight joints and hand pain, what I have done is I took this aluminum hook, which is, this one is a 4 millimeter, this one is a 5 millimeter. And so I wrapped this 5 millimeter hook inside, encased into this oven baked clay that you can get anywhere that they sell clay, like clay for like classrooms or kids' crafts. And this is how I hold my hook. I've made a special place here to hold my hook here, and then I have a base here that I've made that conforms to my hand because I tend to grip tighter than I should. I too, as the instructor, am learning not to grip my hooks as hard, but I gripped this way. Some people don't hold their crochet hook like this, kind of like a knife. Some people hold their crochet hooks like a pencil, and that's why certain hooks, like just this plain bamboo wooden hook, are attractive. They're also attractive because depending on the fiber that you're using, whether it's natural fiber or it's synthetic fiber, sometimes plastic hooks and plastic yarn make a noise that's audible to people. So that's why they don't like using a full plastic hook like this one from Prim, where this is you basically hold your hook. And honestly, this hook is really great for my pencil hook style, because you have that support. You have the grip right here. What you're looking for, what I would be looking for in my hook that I hold like a knife. When I hold my hook like a pencil, gives me more support, and you absolutely want support. You also want to take breaks and stretch your fingers after you've been holding the hook. Also, it helps, and there's research that states that having a bigger device for a hand tool that allows your fingers to not grip as tightly helps you to use the hand tool longer. And then with this one's also still more geared towards knife handle holders. But if you're a pencil holder, this also works with a pencil. This is why this hook, the company Knitter's Pride sells these hooks. And this is not a full endorsement. This is why there's no paid endorsement note on this. I have hooks from a variety of companies, and I've modified this one myself. I've enhanced that hook. But people tend to like these hooks because they have flexibility, and you can try out different ways of holding your hook. So actually, I'm going to go, as I go through our lessons here, I'm going to go with my comfort, which is something else I really value when it comes to my teaching crochet. I want your hands to last as long as possible. I want your fingers to feel good. I want you to enjoy and continue this craft. So try out different hook ways of holding. Try out getting some oven baked clay, taking an aluminum hook, and looking up some resources. In fact, I'll include in this description box, I'll include an instruction video to make a hook like this if you feel like this will help you continue to crochet longer and you already know that you have joint issues, arthritis, just hypermobility, things of that nature that would affect you holding a hook for a long period of time and being able to enjoy the craft. You want to be able to get the mental health benefits, the fun of making something with your hands. You don't want to associate crochet with pain. So all of these hooks most crochet hooks, you can get a basic crochet hook from between $10 and $15, depending on the store that you go to. Paying more for a hook doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get a better hook. In fact, let me show you what's now a collector's item hook. This is one of the hooks that Joann sold right before its demise. I got this during the liquidation, early in the liquidation sales. And while it looks great, and of course, some of you who may have seen Friends, there's a very popular company named Furls that basically sells this style of hook as well, where, once again, I think it's amazing. It's an amazing hook for my pencil grippers because you have a lot of space to grip and it is clear what's gripping your yarn. But one thing that we've been concerned about is like if your hook looks like this where there's not a lot of room to grab your yarn, you might not be able to continue to stitch with this. Plus, this is an 8mm hook. It's made for bigger yarn. It needs to work. So really, sometimes you may end up with, I don't remember how much this was supposed to cost because it was on the liquidation sale, but I do have seen hooks like this, especially when you have custom resin builds like this, that do cost more because of this part alone. So don't mistake having a bigger hook, a fancier hook, as far as what it looks like for working quality. Also, some of your favorite crochet magazines that you see at, say, a Barnes & Noble or, it used to be a Joann, Michael's, or like some local yarn stores also carry magazines that come with gifted ones. This one, Simply Crochet, is one of my favorite crochet magazines, and I will have a video about some of my favorite like written resources also in this beginner series. And this is also a 4mm hook, and I haven't really used it a lot. I like looking at it. It's a clay handle, similar to the one that I had. And again, this is a good one for my pencil holders. My fellow knife holders, not so much, because I can feel the tension all the way up here. So we've taken this almost 10 minutes to go through hook styles. The one thing I will leave you with is whatever hook you decide to try, make sure that your hand grip, I'll say it again, make sure your hands are comfortable. Make sure you have a hook that can actually grip yarn and doesn't just look cute. you may want to try a hook like this one in particular, and I endorse it only because it's really good for both ways of holding your hook. You also may want to go ahead and just get a plain set of aluminum hooks, which are the cheapest hooks you can get besides like bamboo from some of our like direct from China sites. You may want to just get aluminum hooks and take your most comfortable grip in a ball of clay. Bake that clay around the hook the way that the tutorial that I'll link to you below will describe to you, and then use it that way. Same thing even if you have a pencil grip. You may want to just do the pencil grip. Loop it around your hook, especially if you find yourself using a certain hook size. And that is a thing. That is totally a thing. And speaking of that yarn, come on over to the next video and let's talk about yarn types and yarn weights and how those also make a difference.